Vocabio. Master English your way.
And it's happened to coincide with the last government shutdown. 2000
made US more desirable, it coincides with a weakening of the dollar. And that means...
So this event coincides with the first installment of Missing Portraits, a series...
Not the professor, allocate wealth, has coincided with the huge enrichment of society in the past.
The wars that he started, they all seem to have coincided with a plunge in his popularity rating, so 2008.
And reality of not fulfilling their dreams are all a present challenge for the Chinese government.
Yeah, that has been fulfilled. Unfortunately, we only learned about
the Constitution, the possibility of fulfilling his pledges to stay in office till...
Biggest obstacle to the UK fulfilling its potential with AI. Your options are the brain...
is the closest the shuttle has come so far to fulfilling its dream.
The cheers of those who gather to watch the...
aim to achieve the reverse of liberating, because the roots of their movement...
And there is genuinely something liberating about realizing that no matter what you do...
All things, because one is about liberating people, making them freer from...
Sciences all got together in conferences, for the first time liberated from having to mouth, the
prosperity, and therefore to liberate people to look after themselves. This Thatcherite Reagan...
Or couldn't figure out how to counteract it anyway, because again, we're demobilizing our military.
Counteract, it's unlikely. Counteract all of the advantages of family background.
Allow citizens to counteract that fact as a result of the pandemic.
So to this child, and no one else is counteracting those ideas. And so these are...
Is that, yeah, it gives us an equal footing too, because then we can counteract that with counter speech. We can put our message. Arguably, because we are the most digitized. We bought into this.
As well as physically building the grid, we need to digitize it and make it more intelligent.
It's our ability to sense, digitize, connect, process, learn, share, act, all in Google Cloud. Our photo archive was digitized for the first time, kind of essentially black and white.
Fiat currencies we're going to start digitizing. So what I would say the Estonian government is...
I think the answer is actually to revive a culture that is so rich and vibrant around shared...
To try and revive a literary tradition, which is sort of Orwell used to write books.
Mining as idle coal mines were being revived for the purpose of mining bitcoins. And in this case, that also...
Which was recently revived again by Macron. For all these reasons...
goals about reviving Russia in its...
children's ability to grow up through compulsive, addictive social media.
Of individual freedom, and thus feel compelled to stand beside bigots and charlatans in its defense.
Do you think we feel almost compelled to share it, that the kind of digital architecture...
People, they compel us in different ways, and they clash with one another.
Because like you, in terms of thinking about the future, what compels us to turn to people like you to...
It started to dissipate, and we started to really dig in.
It dissolves, diffuses, dissipates in order to recreate.
A fear that it creates in a way that dissipates free speech and open debate. But I will also tell you this, I'm equally worried.
That's what he did. But what we know about anger, it dissipates. And what we know about this situation, if we can come...
Initial force, which is dissipated by settlement and by softened by palace life.
I think people always sort of overestimate how responsible we are for our own attention.
Mulgan used to often say that we overestimate what we can achieve in the short term, but underestimate...
Your question about the supplies of oil to China, we shouldn't overestimate the influence of...
In the preface to the book, Amara's Law, we tend to overestimate the effect of a technology in the short run.
And I don't think you can, you can't overestimate the influence of nomads in global history, because it's...
references and the ability to condense a lot of history. And of course, this is a fictional.
Because it's got all the material that you'll probably hear condensed tonight, but also because it is beautifully written and it is.
Trying to do is be as efficient as possible and condense as much emotion, as much feeling, as much intensity.
He couldn't spend a lot of time writing, and he condensed his writings into very short, this aphoristic style he had.
Ability to reason about those reasons and exert conscious cognitive control, then I'm happy to call that free.
That one might to try to exert pressure on and actually try to find communications with.
The 20th century, the US is no longer exerting the type of global leadership that are essential.
He'd been heard and that no punishment would be exerted on him. But as soon as Augustus Thompson was
presumably democratic gravity, sooner or later exerts itself on the Conservatives. Yeah, I mean, our electoral system.
Individuals wielding semi-automatic weapons who are summarily
this extraordinary veneration in which he's held, and he wields it against the party. And so both of his heirs
combust a bit, and they try to wield control over something as their body changes, and so they control their bodies.
Quite aggressive. You wield power. Now, what else?
Maybe we'll treat them as an enemy now because we can wield a stick because there's nothing to gain.
I think part of the
country is in simply staggering crisis as a place. And if you're in
that orthodoxy, I lay out in my book a staggering number of firings in corporate America.
For horses per day, making a staggering total of over 50,000 horses transported.
In the country, there is staggering variation, and places that are similarly poor have.
Right. It's pretty staggering way to describe a colleague.
But you have to continuously expend energy to keep the Bitcoin network powered.
You can expend hours and hundreds of millions of dollars on the details, but
particular that women were expending to meet a particular beauty ideal. She was making an argument
that they don't need to expend effort. I think Adrian would consider that.
You have to raise, right? I'm willing to expend this because that's all I can spare. Well,
sweet spot, and you lose. You're so immersed, you lose track of time. You forget to eat.
People working on DAOs to do is immerse yourself in thousands of years of human history, and we've learned.
So Samantha, let's start with you. You've been immersed in this for a long time. There are a lot of challenges.
To see, immerse yourself in whether it's Japan or Singapore or.
I like to be, as somebody who immersed themselves in coups for years and has the whole third of the book is on.
And the tensions that would arise from this experience. That's the premise of the show. And
getting shootings in Midtown Manhattan, and it arises that Donald Trump shot someone on Fifth Avenue. There's no doubt.
If the opportunity did not arise. And he says, most interestingly to me, that I want.
So more and more questions arise. So there are new problems.
Illustrations of the normal distribution and how it could arise from a series of binary events.
Sector in what it procures, what it sells, and what it advertises on its site.
Death of a donor in the process of procuring organs. We owe our courage to the 105,000
procured models. But I think with Clint, there's a special dynamic.
You design and develop and procure and build and deliver, because now is the
innovation procurement, supporting councils in procuring more innovative solutions and rather
of knowledge has been accumulated in physics, in fundamental physics, particle physics, thinking.
That would allow them to accumulate wealth as part of their corruption.
And it must accumulate capital. It's exactly the opposite of what is true.
But as we get older, that instruction manual effectively accumulates typos because there are various processes from.
I think a lot of the Bitcoin that you and your clients are accumulating, you guys are paying very high prices for it.
So many people who tell me they're intimidated by the complex rocket science math.
Imagine like quite an intimidating experience. We were two women.
Fully and fully, that she wouldn't be kind of intimidated into giving up sources and so on.
Sitting around there. So it was very intimidating.
It's immediately clear that this group is
desiccated. I felt completely intimidated by you. So when you told someone recently that you were
that we could one day abolish racism, not only in the United States.
To defund the police, abolish prisons, and dismantle our criminal justice.
Issue of slavery. In 1807, Britain, the British Empire.
How did we do that? Well, partly we essentially abolished defence spending, took it down from about 8% to 2%.
For or against the motion abolish billionaires via the poll, which is going to be coming up.
Vocabio, available in Google Play. Download, discover, improve your English.